The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the chatter of customers filled the air at Bright Horizon Cafe, one of the most popular coffee spots in the city. Known for its trendy ambiance and exceptional brews, the cafe had become a gathering place for locals and tourists alike. Unbeknownst to most, the cafe was also part of a nationwide chain owned by Alexis Carter, a 42-year-old African-American entrepreneur. Alexis had built Bright Horizon Cafe from the ground up, turning it into a brand that stood for quality, inclusivity, and community. But over the years, whispers had reached her about inconsistencies in the service across locations. She'd heard rumors about staff mistreating customers and ignoring company values, but each time she sent someone to investigate, the staff seemed to be on their best behavior. This time, Alexis decided to take matters into her own hands. It was a crisp Monday morning when Alexis arrived at one of her busiest locations, tucked in the heart of downtown. Her sleek black car pulled up to the curb, and her driver helped her out, not by opening the door, but by retrieving a wheelchair from the trunk. Alexis, dressed in a simple grey blouse and dark jeans, settled into the wheelchair. Her makeup was minimal, and her hair was tied back in a low ponytail. The goal was to blend in, to be just another customer, and to see how her staff treated someone they didn't perceive as important. She rolled herself through the cafe doors, noting the steady stream of customers and the upbeat music playing in the background. The interior was as she had designed it, modern yet welcoming, with warm wooden tones and an open layout. At the counter stood 3 employees, a bubbly barista named Emma, a young man named Jake who was busy steaming milk, and a tall, stocky man named Brad who leaned against the counter with a bored expression. Alexis maneuvered her wheelchair toward the counter. As she approached, Emma immediately offered her a warm smile. "Good morning. Welcome to Bright Horizon. What can I get for you today?" Alexis returned the smile. "A latte, please." Emma nodded enthusiastically, her tone cheerful. "Coming right up. Would you like any flavors in that?" "No, thank you," Alexis replied, handing over her payment. As Emma processed the order, Alexis noticed Brad rolling his eyes and muttering something under his breath. "What was that?" Emma asked, clearly taken aback. Brad shrugged. "Just saying, it takes longer for people in wheelchairs to move through the line. Slows things down." Alexis froze, her fingers tightening slightly on the armrests of her wheelchair. Emma's face turned red. "Brad, that's completely inappropriate," she whispered harshly. Brad smirked and shrugged, clearly unbothered. Jake, who had been focused on making drinks, glanced over and frowned but said nothing. Alexis decided to test the waters further. "Excuse me," she said, her tone polite but firm. "Could you tell me where the restroom is?" Brad glanced at her, then at the wheelchair, and scoffed. "It's in the back, but good luck getting there. The tables are close together, and we don't move stuff around." Emma stepped forward, her voice sharp. "Brad, that's enough. I'll help her get there." "No need," Alexis said calmly. "I'll manage." She wheeled herself toward the restroom, navigating the tight space with difficulty. A few customers watched sympathetically, while others ignored her struggle. As she maneuvered back to her table, she noticed Brad whispering something to Jake and laughing. Jake glanced at Alexis, his expression conflicted. "Dude, don't," he muttered, just loud enough for Alexis to hear. Alexis sat at a small table near the window, sipping her latte and observing the staff. Emma continued to provide excellent service, smiling at customers and going out of her way to accommodate their needs. Jake was efficient and professional, though he seemed hesitant to intervene when Brad made inappropriate comments. And Brad's attitude worsened as the cafe grew busier. He snapped at Emma when she asked for help, ignored customers who needed assistance, and even sighed loudly when a family with a stroller struggled to find a seat. By the time Alexis finished her drink, she had seen enough. Before leaving, Alexis approached the counter once more. "Excuse me, Emma," she said, smiling warmly. "Could I speak to the manager?" Emma hesitated, glancing nervously at Brad. That's Brad," she said reluctantly. Brad sauntered over, his arms crossed. "What's the problem?" Alexis studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. I just wanted to thank you all for your service today, she said. Brad raised an eyebrow. You're welcome, I guess. And I'd like to leave some feedback, Alexis continued, her tone calm but firm. Could you gather your team, please? Brad sighed. Fine. Jake, Emma, get over here. The three employees stood behind the counter as Alexis addressed them. First, I want to commend Emma, Alexis said, smiling at the young woman. You were incredibly welcoming and accommodating. Your kindness didn't go unnoticed. Emma blushed, clearly surprised. Thank you, she said softly. Jake, Alexis continued, turning to the young man, you were efficient, but I noticed you hesitated to stand up for your colleague when Brad made inappropriate comments. I understand that can be difficult, but creating a positive environment requires teamwork. Jake nodded, his cheeks reddening. I'll do better, he said. Finally, Alexis turned to Brad. As for you, your behavior today was unacceptable. Your comments were discriminatory and unprofessional, and they go against everything this company stands for. Brad scoffed. What are you, some kind of secret shopper? Who do you think you are, coming in here and judging me? Alexis smiled faintly, pulling a sleek business card from her pocket and sliding it across the counter. I'm Alexis Carter, she said evenly, the CEO of Bright Horizon Cafe. Brad's smirk vanished, his face draining of colour. Emma and Jake stared at Alexis in shock. I came here today to see how our staff treats customers, especially those who might need extra support, Alexis continued. And Brad, you've made it clear that you don't belong on this team. Brad opened his mouth to protest, but Alexis held up a hand. Save it. Consider this your last day. Turning to Emma and Jake, she added, I'll be in touch with both of you soon. Emma, you've demonstrated the kind of values we want in leadership. Jake, I see potential in you, but I expect more moving forward. With that, Alexis wheeled herself out of the cafe, leaving a stunned silence in her wake. As she exited, she allowed herself a small smile. She hadn't just tested her staff. She'd set an example. Bright Horizon Cafe was more than a business. It was a reflection of her values, and she wasn't about to let anyone tarnish its reputation. But her work was far from over. Tomorrow, she would meet with the regional managers to ensure that every location upheld the same standards of respect and inclusivity. The road ahead was long, but Alexis was ready for the challenge. The sun rose on a quieter, more contemplative morning at Bright Horizon Cafe. For most of the staff, the previous day's events felt like a whirlwind. The revelation that the woman in the wheelchair was none other than Alexis Carter, the CEO, had left an indelible mark on everyone, especially Brad, who had been fired on the spot for his behavior. Emma and Jake arrived early, the air between them charged with nervous energy. I still can't believe she was the CEO, Jake said, setting up the espresso machine. Emma nodded as she wiped down the counters. Me neither. I mean, she was so calm, but you could tell she wasn't messing around. Brad had it coming, though. Jake sighed. Yeah, he did. But I feel bad I didn't do more. She was right. I should have stepped in. You'll get there, Emma said, offering him a reassuring smile. At least now we know what kind of standards she expects. Later that morning, Alexis Carter returned to the cafe, this time without the wheelchair. She was dressed in a sleek navy blazer and tailored slacks, her hair pulled back into a neat bun. The contrast between her current appearance and her undercover visit was striking. Emma noticed her first, nearly dropping a tray of mugs in surprise. Ms. Carter, welcome back, she said, her voice tinged with both excitement and nervousness. Jake, overhearing, immediately turned from the coffee grinder and greeted Alexis with a sheepish smile. Good morning, Miss Carter. Alexis smiled warmly at both of them. Good morning. Please call me Alexis, she said. I wanted to stop by and talk to you both about yesterday. Emma and Jake exchanged nervous glances before following Alexis to one of the corner tables. Once seated, Alexis began. First, I want to thank you both for your work yesterday. Running a cafe is no easy task, and I could see how hard you're trying. That said, there are always areas for improvement. She turned to Jake. Jake, I appreciate your efficiency and focus, but I want to challenge you to step into a more proactive role. When you see something wrong, whether it's a rude comment or a customer struggling, you need to feel empowered to act. Do you think you can do that? Jake nodded earnestly. Yes, ma'am. I know I let things slide with Brad, and I'll do better. I believe you will, Alexis said. Next, she turned to Emma. Emma, you impressed me yesterday. Your kindness, patience, and willingness to stand up for what's right embody the values of Bright Horizon. That's why I'd like to promote you to shift supervisor. Emma's eyes widened. Really? Me? Alexis smiled. Yes, your leadership skills are exactly what this cafe needs. I'll arrange for additional training to support you in the role, but I'm confident you'll excel. Emma beamed. Thank you, Ms. Carter. I won't let you down. I know you won't, Alexis said. As Alexis stood to leave, Jake hesitated, then spoke up. Ms. Carter, can I ask why you decided to go undercover? Alexis paused, her expression thoughtful. Because I wanted to see how our staff treats people when they don't know they're being watched, she said. The truth is, our values as a company only matter if they're reflected in the way we treat everyone, not just those who seem important. Jake nodded, her words sinking in. And remember, Alexis added, leadership isn't just about titles, it's about action. You both have the ability to lead by example, no matter your position. With that, Alexis left the cafe, leaving Emma and Jake inspired and determined to uphold the standards she had set. Later that afternoon, Alexis met with the regional managers at the company's headquarters. The conference room was sleek and modern, with a long glass table and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Thank you all for coming, Alexis began, addressing the room. Yesterday, I conducted an undercover visit to one of our locations. What I saw reaffirmed the need for stronger training and accountability across our entire network. She detailed the experience, emphasizing both the positive actions of staff, like Emma, and the unacceptable behavior of individuals like Brad. This is a wake-up call, Alexis continued. Our brand stands for inclusivity, respect, and community. If we fail to live up to those values, we lose the trust of our customers and the integrity of what we've built. One of the managers, a woman named Patricia, raised her hand. What steps do you recommend, Alexis? First, Alexis said, we need to implement mandatory sensitivity and inclusivity training for all staff, from baristas to managers. Second, we need to establish a clear system for reporting and addressing misconduct. And third, I want to hear more directly from employees. Anonymous surveys, open-door policies, whatever it takes to create a culture of honesty and accountability. The room buzzed with agreement as the managers took notes. Let this be a turning point, Alexis concluded. We have the opportunity to not only meet, but exceed the expectations of our customers and employees. Let's make it happen. In the weeks that followed, the changes Alexis implemented began to take shape. Training sessions were rolled out across all Bright Horizon locations, and new policies emphasized respect and support for both customers and staff. Emma flourished in her role as shift supervisor, earning the admiration of her team and the gratitude of countless customers. Jake, inspired by Alexis's words, stepped up as a proactive and dependable team member. And as for Alexis, she continued to visit Bright Horizon locations, sometimes as herself and sometimes undercover, ensuring that the values she had built her company on were alive and well. Her journey as CEO wasn't just about running a business, it was about creating a legacy of kindness, accountability, and excellence. A legacy that would inspire not just her employees, but everyone who walked through the doors of Bright Horizon Cafe.